Welcome back to more F1 2017 career mode, and you join me for Season 2 in the Singapore Grand Prix. We had an interesting showing last time out in Italy, shows that we definitely have some straight line performance, and the car can be very slippery when needed. But how's that going to translate to the hot, humid streets of the night race? I was going to say the only night race in the calendar, but I would have been lying, as Bahrain is now also a night race. But it is the longest race in the calendar, and that is a surefire fact, with, admittedly, this is 50% race, so just over 30 laps, clocking in at roughly 1:45 a pop. So, it's a long one. It's a tight, twisting, technical circuit, and not one of my personal favourites, I'll be honest. Not really just a street race, or street track, street circuit, whatever fan. In general, really, when it comes to these circuits, too many corners for me to get wrong, and too many opportunities to throw it in the barrier. But nonetheless, as always, we're gonna jump straight into qualifying. Here we go with our first lap. Ultra soft tyres equipped to the Mclaren Honda. And we're going to try and do the best that we absolutely can as we chuck it into turn one. Catch not too much curb. We try and make that section just as straight as possible as we go into 3. Try and get the best traction as possible. Then we're going to go across the left, make it as wide as possible before turning into 5. Catching a little bit of curb, drifting the car out wide a little bit before on the power in the DRS zone. This is technically turn 6, albeit it's just really a kink in the straight, braking at the 100-metre board into 7. I moved under braking, which unsettled the car a little bit, which pushed us slightly wide. And then now we're into the proper tight, technical, twisty stuff of turn 8 as we flow through turn 9. The amount of times I catch the curb and the car understeers wide into the wall. I've done that and knocked off many a front wing in my time, but we kept it fairly committed. Make a horrible mistake through the old Singapore sling. I don't know how to feel about the reprofiled Singapore. Even after they got rid of the old Singapore sling and just made it a left-hander, I loved the quick left, right, left and the sleeping policeman curbs. Made it a real challenge to get through there quickly. But Alonso goes to a 39.4. We are 1.5 seconds down on Fernando, and I must say the back end of the car has not felt very planted. This was an issue I had in Season 1, not particularly around this circuit, but just in general, the back end of this McLaren does not sit very well for me and my particular driving style, as we now come under the bridge, or bridge-ish section, I suppose, coming through to the final chicane, if you want to call it that. It's just not really an overtaking opportunity, I feel personally. It's like it's corners for the sake of corners. But we now come through to the double left-hand and take a big old chunk of curb. We come across the line. It's a 42.1. And we're only faster than one of the Saubers. And we saw just there, I saw it very quickly flash up, the MGUH is now at critical wear. It was only at this point I realised I did not change my components before qualifying. This is my practice engine. So I sort of sat on that screen and just went, well, kind of messed this one up a little bit. So we're going to go out again for one more run. If we can even remotely improve. We've got a 90% worn MGUH in the car. You can see we're already looking horrible on our Delta. We bump it to max and then it gets put down to standard, because the car just can't handle rich mix at the moment. So we're 4 tenths down currently. We take some of the corners a hell of a lot better this time around, but as you see, we bump it up to max again. And then by the end of the straight, it's back down to a standard mixture. It's just, I was so annoyed with myself. I was pushing too hard to try and correct my mistakes of trying to find extra time to factor in the aspect of there that I'd forgot to change my quali parts, and I pushed too hard, clouted the wall. I'm not too sure how that didn't basically rip the rear suspension off the McLaren. And then, of course, Jeff wants to kick me while I'm down, while I'm pulling away from my instance, go, oh hey, you know that rich mix that you really wanted, that's available again. Yeah, cheers, Jeff. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate that. So, Kimi Räikkönen on pole for McLaren, 48 thousandths of a second clear of Lewis Hamilton, and then Bottas half second back with Danny Rick 9 tenths. Alonso 1.4 off pole in 5th. Perez, Verstappen, Grosjean, Massa and Kvyat round out the top 10. And we've just got ourselves Vettel down in 15th. That was a surprise. We're sulking down in 19th place, 4 seconds off the pace. So I figured I'm already starting basically last. we'll take a new engine. We might as well because, I mean, we're already on that back row of the grid as it was. So we might as well take the additional engine, and then we're going to swap in one of our older ones here. We're going to sort of go back to components number 2 or 3. I think 3. Yeah, 2 is the practice engine. Because I don't really expect the wear to be too bad. I mean, Singapore's a long old race to begin with here, but we're just going to go and put an older engine in. I don't really know what to expect out of this Grand Prix. It's a mixed bag for me. So yeah, just sort of seeing how it goes this weekend. Obviously, we're going to have to salvage something out of this race. So we're going to try the one-stop. It means a horrific stretch on the super soft tyres. And spoiler warning, it's disgusting. These tyres, the super soft tyres from about lap 6 were just awful. And seeing how long I'd left to go on them was not fun. Interestingly enough, Ocon had a bigger penalty than us. I have no idea why Ocon's penalty was bigger than ours for him to drop to last place, but apparently he is. So we're going to keep our starting position of 19th. Everyone around us is on super soft tyres. So whatever that may mean. Or sorry, they're on ultra soft tyres. So yeah. Anyway, we build 5 lights at Singapore. Lights are out and away we go. What has it recently been with a long hold? But anyway, Ocon has got a better start than us due to the tyres that he is on. He's going to try and send it down the inside. I just want to keep my nose clean at this juncture of the Grand Prix. Everyone sort of slows down for turn 3, so we're going to try and fling it around the outside. Hulkenberg unfortunately gets in the way of our traction zone, so we don't really gain any positions. We go side by side with the Force India of Ocon, then dive down the inside of both Sauber cars. We made a slight bit of contact there with Hulkenberg's rear end. Thankfully, we didn't get any damage, and I'm running simulation damage, so the fact we didn't get any there is quite surprising. Palmer is battling Sebastian Vettel. We've run it wide. Like I say, just so used to the braking with low fuel in the car, it just went straight on, annoyingly. So anyway, we're coming through Old Singapore Slim. We've got Stroll and Magnussen battling it out. Vettel there in 14th. Palmer in 15th. We come across the bridge, and George is going to chuck it straight down the inside of the hairpin once again, nearly risking our front wing against the back of a car. Vettel gets the better exit, though, on those tyres, but we get the better top-end speed. I don't know if we're running less downforce than the Ferrari. Just keep it out of the wall. Squeeze Vettel to the inside. Are we going to get the better exit on the wider line? Yes, we are. Round the outside of Sebastian. That is us up into 14th place. And by sort of the end of lap 2, that is where we still found ourselves. Kimi Raikkonen setting the pace in the 42s. Where are we going to be as we sort of come around the double left-hander? We're just sort of sticking to the back of Stroll. We've made a mistake, gone wide, crossing the line. We are in the late 45s. So we are roughly 3 seconds off the pace, which is fairly frustrating. But by the start of lap 4, we're still hanging on to one Lance Stroll in the Williams. We've taken a better, tighter line through that corner. Then we're going to stick into the slipstream. We have, of course, DRS open. That's going to allow us to make a calculated move. Stroll looks as if he's going to go defensive, but then sort of just leaves the door open for us to just slide down the inside. Thank you very much. But he manages to keep the position ahead of Sebastian Vettel. So, pretty good work there from Stroll. Of course, Vettel then pulls ahead as we now move on to lap 5. We've got Danica Kvyat, Kevin Magnussen. Carlos Sainz has blown up going into that corner, and that means that Kvyat, Magnussen and myself has all of a sudden become a battle for points. So I'm not really going to complain there. The fact that by lap 5 we're battling for points already. Kvyat has managed to pull ahead after the VSC. There's pit stops occurring at this time. Kimi Raikkonen, who I can only assume was the race leader, we sort of fainted a look at Magnussen there into turn 1, but Raikkonen has come out. He is behind Sebastian Vettel, interestingly enough, so that's how far Vettel has managed to fall down, by scrapping in the midfield, because Singapore still very difficult to overtake, as this really is, you know, getting a good run out of that corner, and then heading down towards the left-hander is the best overtaking spot on the circuit. We've managed to just tag the wall ever so slightly, and Magnussen got a good run on Kvyat. This is now the battle for 9th place. Magnussen pulls ahead initially. We now go into the tight right-hander. The two cars still manage to go side by side. Kvyat keeps it out the wall very nicely into the left-hander. They go side by side once again. Magnussen just keeping it out of the wall. He manages to pull ahead on power, and that was a fantastic move. An excellent battling by the AI, by Kevin Magnussen. We lunge it down the inside of Kvyat. Make it so he has no choice but to give us the corner and not be able to turn in. That's us up into 10th place. And can we now hang on to the back of K-Mag? Answer, no we couldn't. By the end of lap 9 though, everyone else has pulled into the pits, and that is now going to leave yours truly as the race leader at the start of lap 10. We are only halfway through our stint on these super soft tyres, and like I said earlier, they were not feeling good. And knowing I still had so long left to go on them, I was basically a moving chicane at this point. Hamilton just gets an absolute worldie of a run out of the hairpin there after the bridge, but he tried to go around the outside, and unfortunately, you see it there where we look back, he didn't leave himself enough room, / I may have squeezed him a little bit. He no longer has a front wing, so Hamilton had to make an additional pit stop. And get his new front wing. So by lap 12 then, Valtteri Bottas is now our main competition. Then Esteban Ocon, who appears to be running the absolute race of his life, up in 3rd. Bottas tries to go to the outside of turn 1. We're going to keep it there, squeeze him out a little bit nicely as we now run through turn 3. We've run it wide though on the dusty section. Got a bad run. Bottas is now going to try and sweep round the outside. Can he look to make the move into turn 4? And do you know what? He bloody well has done. Superb move there by Valtteri Bottas. Say what you will about it being a faster car on faster tyres. That was sublime move to keep it planted with the wall just there on his left-hand side. Yeah, Bottas completely outdid us there, and he's now driven off into the distance. We now move on to lap 17. My tyres are screaming. Look, you can see they are two-toned. You know, the inside of the tyre is much more warm than the outside. We now have Daniel Ricciardo trying to make a move on us around the outside, and then we've got the Force India to our left. Can we hold the position through the Red Bull's run wide? And I think he's made contact with Alonso just there, who's, of course, trying to make the position. Look at the train of cars behind us as Alonso is fighting the Red Bull. I'm not too sure if he's going to be carrying damage. That looked like a bit of an impact between Ricciardo and Alonso. Perez is now, of course, sitting behind us there, so I don't know if I got that. No, Ocon was running there earlier, but he appears to have made another pit stop and has dropped down the field a little bit. But by the end of lap 17 now, this is going to be finally coming onto the lap that I want to be on. This is the lap that I'm coming into the pits. Alonso has come in, like I said, so I don't know if that was either scheduled as part of his strategy, or if he had some kind of front wing damage due to the collision with the Red Bull. He had dropped a little bit of a way back, and I highly doubt he was running slower than I was at that point. So, now we come out, which basically, like I say, nursing the car to get through this stint. Perez just sends it down the inside of the right-hander, and he's just got so much additional straight-line speed. We're going to try and do something. Perez locks up into the corner. That allows us to then maybe have a run, a dive bomb down the tight right-hander. Oh, my God, I was so close to the wall. How did Perez not make any contact with that wall there? Realistically, he should have had that position, but he left the door ever so slightly open, and that was enough for me to just send it down the inside. But we finally come in. Look at the state of those tyres. They are just horrific. And the guys on a two-stop are now coming in as well, so realistically, this has been the perfect lap for us, because we've been able to hold them up. We're going to now switch over to the Ultra Softs to run to the end of the Grand Prix. And we're currently in 9th place. Is anyone else going to come past us through the pits? So we now come through. There's a Sauber in the picture, but no one else really racing. There's a Ferrari back there. I'm not too sure who that is as we now come through. I've been very clumsy through there. And Marcus Ericsson on his Ultra Softs. I would assume he's still got to make a pit stop. Comes around 9th position. Pascal Wehrlein in 11th. I'm not too sure what's going on with the Sauber strategy this race, but somehow they've managed to find themselves. That could just be me, the fact that I was holding up the whole field. But here we go. We've finally got a run on someone. We're finally doing a bit of excitement in this Grand Prix. We're going to just lunge it from a long way back. Ericsson just completely shits himself on the brakes. Like double lock up into the first corner. And at the end of lap 19, everyone else has come in to make their pit stops. So we're going to go up, and we're now running, even though the car felt awful on those super softs, because of the fact that we just basically held up the whole field. We are now up in 4th place. It's a McLaren 4-5 at this point, with me somehow heading Alonso. I've got no idea how I've managed that. And as I say that, you see on there on the mini-map, Alonso pulls off due to an engine failure. As I talk about the double points, I was so gutted, because I even thought it, obviously when I was actually doing the race itself, I was like, oh wow, 4-5 for us, this could be great. And then Alonso had to pull off. So the safety car coming in at the end of lap 22. Valtteri Bottas is the race leader. I think he's also on the one stop. Ocon is all over the gaff. He's clouted the wall just there, so I'm not too sure what is going on with Esteban Ocon. He has just been weaving. He's damaged his front wing there. So Bottas drops the lower pedal, as it were. Ocon's going to have to come in because of his front wing damage. He's pulled a Roman Grosjean from the Azerbaijan Grand Prix by just punting it into the wall when he could have potentially got 2nd place for Force India. Yeah, Bottas is going to shoot off like a rocket ship. No amount of me being on the ultra soft tyres is going to allow me to catch him. Obviously, I try, but realistically, I've got to be honest, the car just doesn't have the pace around here. And on lap 23, I'm sending it really wide. Verstappen has just the brilliant run on me. I had to take all the curb and arguably a little bit more just to defend the position. We finally managed to drop into the 43s. So, you know, this tyre, to begin with, had quite a nice little bit of pace. But like the Super Soft, it just dropped off so quickly. I've got no idea what's wrong with this car and its tyre wear. I might need to start having a little look at the old tyre wear upgrades. And then I've completely run wide through the double left-hander. That's going to allow Hamilton through. We're going to go into the slipstream. However, we do also have Verstappen having a run at us. But Hamilton just left the door open in turn 1. We're going to push him wide, say thank you very much. We'll take 2nd place back. And it actually allowed Verstappen to move up into 3rd place as well. So, I mean, Valtteri Bottas has got this Grand Prix on lock at this point because we aren't going to catch him and save him retiring with a puncture with 2 laps to go. It's another Azerbaijan reference right there. Anyway, I need to stop referencing Azerbaijan and actually reference Max Verstappen just launching a full-scale assault on me down the inside of the left-hander and then through the right. Can we look to hold the move? We've upset the rear of the car on the way through. Max gives us a little swipe on the way through. I tried to launch it down the inside, but fair play to Max and his AI just there, because that was a good move. Normally I like to think I'm pretty good at defending against the AI, but Max there has just completely done me. Credit where credit's due. So Max Verstappen moves up to 2nd. We lose that, move down into 3rd place. For 3rd place, I'll take a podium, and seeing as we started 19th. Verstappen hasn't really pulled too far away of us. Wehrlein has retired from the Grand Prix, and Hamilton, of course, with his Mercedes engine and his DRS and his rich mix, is going to scream straight past me. Pulls out a good gap. I'm going to launch it, of course, down the inside, try and take the position. I have forced him off track just a little bit there. But, you know, Lewis, I'm sure, would have done the same if the roles were reversed. And now lap 27, we've caught the curb a little bit. I'm basically holding up the whole field at this point, as Hamilton's going to try and have another run at me. He pulls ahead once again in the right-hander. We're going to brake. We don't quite pull off the same dive bomb like we did before. Hamilton's able to keep it relatively close. He tries to have a look down the inside of the hairpin, but not quite able to pull off the move. We keep our defensive position, and we keep Hamilton behind us just there. I'm not too sure why Hamilton's trying to make these risky overtakes. He could just sit there and take 4th. He's that far ahead in the Drivers' World Championship. And no, he's going to have a look down the inside of turn 1 on lap 28. And now we're going to try and hold it round the outside of turn 3. Hamilton's pinched himself on the apex, but he's going to have the better run as we go towards turn 4. Is he going to be able to hold it round the outside like his teammate Valtteri Bottas did earlier in the Grand Prix? No, he's not. But he's going to have the tighter line, and he's going to pull into the slipstream. Look at all the cars streaking through that we are holding up. But Hamilton not quite able to get the run this time around. So we are in the prime seats. We've still got a few laps left to go. We move on to lap 29. 3 laps to go, including the one we are on. And Hamilton, after taking a lap off, is now back on the rampage. He's had his best run yet through the right-hander, and he's pulled so far ahead, we have to dive bomb down the inside, but a bit too audacious on that one. Hamilton pulls ahead. We have to more than worry about a defence versus Daniel Ricciardo, other than defending against Lewis Hamilton. And unfortunately, that is us dropping out of a podium position. We are indeed down to 4th place, and once again, it almost feels like the beginning of Season 1 in a straight line. It's the montage of misery making its fantastic return as we defend against Daniel Ricciardo, who tries to make his move around the outside again of turn 7, I'm going to say. But yeah, Danny Rick now, and you can see just how far Lewis has got ahead of us, and we've made that mistake I was talking about in qualifying. I've knocked my front wing. After 30 laps is when I decided to make that clumsy mistake, and now we have to carry that front wing damage through the final lap and a half here. And you can see it's really not helping me in the one corner I needed to help me. Danny Rick now in the slipstream. He hasn't got the same run that Hamilton has. I'll tell you who has got a run. That's the Ferrari of Kimi Räikkönen. Came barging through. Ricciardo tries the inside. Can he get a good exit? He's going to have to try around the outside of the hairpin. We take the curb, push him out wide. Is that going to allow the Ferrari through? No, the Ferrari has to fall into line. And we've managed to retain 4th place. It's been scrappy. It's not been my best drive, but as the fireworks go off and we lead home a procession of Formula 1 cars through the double left-hander, it's 19th to 4th around the streets of Singapore.
Thank you for all your hard work out there. That was a strong drive and a good finish. Well done.
And here are our podium drivers today after that excellent race. They've excelled here, as they so often do, and it's a well-deserved victory. Mercedes there are on top today.
Valtteri Bottas wins the Singapore Grand Prix by 14 seconds to Max Verstappen. Lewis Hamilton then 20 seconds back. I dropped 32 seconds after the safety car period on that audacious one stop, but it did get me 19th to 4th, sorry. Then Danny Rick, Kimi Räikkönen dropped from pole to 6th, then Vettel, Massa, Kvyat and Perez rounds off our top 10. At one point, a Force India looked like it was going to be on the podium, but they got 10th and, well, retirement, I think, for Ocon there. So we dropped to 3rd in the Drivers' Championship. Bottas overtakes us with his win, and Alonso, unfortunately, drops to 9th after Max Verstappen's 2nd place there. But things are still looking strong for the team. I'm fairly confident I can solidify 3rd place in the Drivers' Championship, and I'm also fairly confident that McLaren is going to bring home 3rd in the Constructors for this season. And it's been a good bounce back. We're getting ourselves in the position. This is a transitional sort of season from the lower midfield to the front of the midfield for Season 3 to be the true season where we try and attack and win the championship. That is my plan. I would like to thank everyone for watching. Leave a like if you did enjoy and comment any feedback down below. Next time out, we are going to the Malaysian Grand Prix because we're in sort of like that Asia sector of the season. Malaysia is my favourite circuit, but it's never really worked out too well on the game for me. So we'll see how that fares next time out. But I will see you all next time.